What up, gang? Carolina Jackpot time coming at you on a Sunday morning. I hope everybody's having a good one. Hope you all had a good college football Saturday. Hope you stayed safe and were able to enjoy some college football yesterday. Before I get into my instant reaction on yesterday's games, a few little housekeeping items. First off, if you're new around here, consider staying true around here. Subscribe to the Carolina Jackpot channel, and also hit this video with a thumbs up, please. If you would do that for me, I'd appreciate it. If you enjoy the content here, guess what? When you hit the thumbs up, it helps it get spread out into the YouTube algorithm, and other people can discover it and enjoy it as well. And that helps all of us out. Thank you very much in advance. Also, I want to talk about the Rob and Kale Show live show. The live on location recording of the Rob and Kale Show we're going to have on November 28th. That's a Friday night at 8 o'clock. It's going to be at CALLOWAYS Sports Bar and Grill in West Columbia, South Carolina, diagonally across from the Walmart on Highway 1. You may know it as the biggest Golden Tea Lounge in the Midlands. We have a heck of a good time every year when we do the live show. We're going to have some little contests, a little fun stuff we're going to do. Throw some darts, beer chugging competition, maybe shoot some pool. Just have an overall good time. It is at a sports bar and grill, so you can drink beer with us if you want to. But hey, look, if you're not a drinker, please don't feel like you're not welcome. It's come one, come all. If you want to drink a Coke, water, whatever, if you don't want to drink anything, if you just want to hang out with us for a little while and watch the thing, just do that. You don't feel like you have to be obligated to drink while you're there, because you don't have to. I, for one, am probably going to have a few cocktails because it's been a rough season, and by God, I need it. Also, I wanted to tell you real quick about a YouTube channel that's out there. I'm going to put the link to it in the description box below. Also, down in the description box below, I'm going to link CALLOWAYS Sports Bar and Grill, directions and all that good stuff there. And that's Friday night, November 28th at 8 o'clock, the night before the South Carolina versus Clemson game. I want to promote this YouTube channel. It's called PB Betting. I'm going to link it down in the description box below. I got turned on to these guys last year. It's two guys, PB, call themselves Paisley and Berger, two younger guys, and they go through a slate of about 10 to 15 games every year. They pick them against the spread, or every week, excuse me. Pick them against the spread on one show, and then they'll come back on like Sunday night with a recap show, where they'll recap the weekend in college football. And guess what? They also recap their picks, and they score them. Now, you don't see a lot of people do that. There are a lot of people that put picks against the spread out there. They don't go back and ever follow up on it and eat crow when they were wrong and crow about when they were right. I just kind of like that. Last year, I started watching them over on X. Uncle Lou mentioned it on his channel. He followed them. So I went and followed them, and I thought the content was really good. They're streaming their stuff to YouTube now also. And, like, they have very few subscribers over there, and there's not a lot of people watching those videos. And I don't understand it because the content is really good. I find it good. Now, if you're not tuned into, or you don't care about the betting aspect of college football, you still may find it informative and entertaining, just because they talk about the teams and they go through some stats and give their opinions. Anyway, I find it interesting. I was wanting to see some people could go over there, maybe subscribe to it, and kind of get the numbers up on that. I mean, I don't know that they're interested in growing that platform a lot. I don't really know, but anyway, go show it some support if you feel like you want to or whatever. It's totally up to you. I just thought I'd throw it out there. I like to try to help out channels that I see that are doing good work but seem like they're struggling with the numbers. I like to try to promote them, kind of like I did with that Real Bread Life guy about a year or so ago that some of y'all went over there and subscribed to his channel too. So anyway, go give him a shout. Let's talk about this past weekend in college football. South Carolina was off, so I was able to really take it in and enjoy an entire day of football. Obviously, YouTube TV still hasn't signed an agreement with Disney / ESPN / Hulu / whatever. So we're still not able to watch those on YouTube TV. I'm telling you, the $20 refund is a joke. If it's not back on before this Saturday's game with Texas A&M and Carolina, I'm going to go ahead and cancel it, probably Thursday or Friday, because, I mean, it's just, it's YouTube is going to end up having to give in and give them what they want. They're going to have to meet them so they can satisfy their customers. It's point blank. You're going to have to do it. I mean, stop being so hard-headed. You're fucking pissing people off. You're going to lose a ton over this. I'm telling you, you're going to lose a ton. Anyway, Ohio State, number 1 in the country, went to Purdue. Easy 34-10 win over Purdue. Purdue hung around early in this game, but Jeremiah Smith came up huge in this one for Ohio State. They're undefeated. They're clearly number 1 in the country. In that, I mean, they really haven't been in a battle with anybody unless you want to count Texas in week 1. And even that, they kind of dominated in that matchup. Ohio State looks kind of head and shoulders among everybody else right now. A game that I watched almost all of, and that was Indiana and Penn State. I actually had Penn State on the money line in this game. I really thought they were going to strike the upset here. I knew they were going to come out. I knew they were going to play hard. They did. They came out. They punched Indiana in the mouth out of the gate. And then Indiana kind of starts taking over a little bit defensively, especially at the end of the first half. And you can see them kind of starting to pull away a little bit. And then all of a sudden, kind of like the Undertaker just sitting up in the coffin, here comes Penn State back from the dead. Ends up coming back taking a 24-20 lead. Nick Singleton had a really, really long run right there. Sets them up. They hit go-ahead touchdown. They're up 24-20. Indiana is out of timeouts. They march right down the field inside a minute and a half left in the game. Mendoza, under extreme pressure, delivers a pass, a dot in the back of the end zone. This kid, he catches the football on high points it, comes down with it. He puts like one sliver of a toenail inbounds, and it's a touchdown. It was a touchdown. Penn State people were really upset. They were booing when it was. I mean, they didn't think it was a touchdown. I mean, it was. I mean, it just was. I hated it. I hated it for them. As you know, I like Pennsylvania. I like Penn State. It's kind of a team I really follow outside of the Gamecocks. I go up there every summer and spend a week or so. I just feel bad for them. They've lost a couple of really bad games this year. They shouldn't have lost to Northwestern and UCLA, and then they lost their big game to Oregon. And James Franklin gets fired. The fan base has just really been through it. Just a tough loss yesterday to number 2 Indiana, but Kurt Cignetti's team actually survives. And I was kind of like dumbfounded in his post-game interview there on the field. Kurt Cignetti kind of got a little bit emotional. His voice started to crack. I thought he was going to tear up a little bit. Describing Mendoza and his never say die attitude, and the whole team there just refusing to go down and going down and do what they had to do to win that ball game. I don't like them particularly. I don't like some of the comments that he's made, and I don't like the way that he's kind of engineered the stance that he's going to bitch out of any tough games that they've got to play against any other power competition and play a shitty schedule because that's what the SEC does, which is totally not true. I don't like that, but you still got to respect the game. And Indiana did what they had to do there. Vanderbilt, how about Vandy? 45-38, big win over Auburn at home. Vandy, defensively, I've got a lot of question marks right now. I don't know, guys. I don't know if they're going to be able to make it into the college football playoff or not. They've got 2 games left. They play Kentucky in 2 weeks, which we're going to talk about Kentucky in a minute. But they also play at Tennessee. You know what I feel like? I hate Tennessee. I absolutely cannot stand them. Most of their fan base I can't stand. Not the ones that all watch my YouTube videos. Some of them are good people, but I really got turned off by a lot of that fan base, especially during the whole little rivalry I had with Sports Talk Jay going back and forth, and just the disdainful, nasty comments they were giving me during that live I did with Rec Talk when we did the debate. Really pissed me off. But I mean, to that point, I shit on them too. So I mean, it goes both ways. those people are assholes. They don't deserve to win that game, but I have a bad feeling that at home that Vanderbilt's really going to struggle against that offense. Now, if they can force Joey Aguilar into some mistakes, which he's going to make mistakes, if they can force him to make enough of them, I could see them winning that game, but it's going to be really tough. They kind of got exposed yesterday a little bit by an Auburn team that scored 3 points against Kentucky last week. I get it. They fired Hugh Freeze, so this team's probably playing a lot more loose. They looked better yesterday. Looked like they were having fun. Just weren't quite able to get it done. Cam Coleman with some big-time catches there late in that ball game to pull Auburn even with Vandy. But Diego Pavia just kept on doing Diego Pavia shit. This guy he's running for first downs, getting big yardage here, keeping his team fired up. He has made superstars out of a bunch of misfits, which is what he calls him and his teammates, a bunch of misfits. I mean, it's crazy what they've been able to do there. But Vandy picks up the win in Nashville against the Auburn team. Tough loss for Auburn. SMU wins 45-13 over Boston College. This line was like 10.5, and I didn't understand that one at all. The SMU rolls. I think Bill O'Brien might be about done at Boston College. Clemson, 24-10 win over Florida State. What a good win by Clemson, I guess. Florida State shot themselves in the foot time after time after time in this ball game. They couldn't do anything in the red zone. Missed field goals. Just not a good performance at all by Florida State. And I could see this is a year where a lot of coaches have chosen to choke at very, very poor times. I could see Mike Norvell being gone. I could see him being gone. It's another, after a good win against the Wake Forest team, we're also going to talk about last week, they go on the road and just absolutely have no real defensive presence, even though they were able to outgain Clemson, which shows you Clemson, there's room there to be had running the football against Clemson. Now, whether South Carolina's going to be able to take advantage of that in a few weeks, I have my doubts on that one, seriously. But we'll talk about Carolina in a second too. But Clemson with the win there at home, so that's a good little do-wop feel-good win for the mouth breathers over there. LSU goes down 20-9 against Alabama. Kind of tried to hang around there in the ball game. Alabama still can't run the football. That's why people that tell me that they're going to win the Natty, I don't think that's going to happen. You have to be able to run the football to win. They couldn't run the football in Columbia against South Carolina, and they definitely couldn't run it against LSU. But they win the ball game 20-9. They keep doing what they got to do here. Now talking about a team here that a lot of people wasn't talking about, and I had my doubts about. I kind of got some doubts erased yesterday to some degree. Now, the competition may have had something to do with this. We're going to see this coming up week when the competition stiffens up a good bit. And that's the Georgia Bulldogs. Really, really complete performance yesterday in Starkville. 41-21 win over Miss State. I had Miss State covering the spread here in the or on the money line in the first half of this ball game. I threw up on $50 to win 100, and that was just a terrible beat. I mean, 24-7. Georgia was all over them early in that matchup. Georgia was able to get to Blake Shapen twice and to the other quarterback once. So a total of 3 sacks. That's more than they've had in any game this year. Georgia started to really come together, played a complete game yesterday, had as many yards on the ground as they did through the air. Gunnar Stockton continues to look good for UGA, and they pick up a big win. I was kind of surprised that Mississippi State was kind of flat in this game. If y'all watch that one, I mean, the atmosphere there was just not what it's been in some other games this year. I mean, I don't know if the close losses to Tennessee and Texas have kind of, beaten down the fan base and gotten them kind of down and out on their program, because I was watching it, and it wasn't full. That's what I commented on Uncle Lou's Patreon stream early on in that game. I'm like, I can't believe this game's not a sellout. And he noticed it, and he's like, yeah, that's crazy to me that they wouldn't fill that place up. Which I thought Georgia fans would travel well and fill a lot of those seats up too, like the Tennessee fans did. But if that's the case, Mississippi State fans don't have anything to really hang their heads about. I mean, you were getting blown out last year by these same teams, and this year you're just so much more competitive. You're not that far off from being there. But yesterday was a disappointing effort by Mississippi State. I thought they would really give Georgia all they wanted and more. It's kind of like things didn't go their way early, and they just kind of really didn't put up much of a fight the rest of the game. So, but a good win there for UGA. BYU goes down 29-7 to Texas Tech. This really was never even competitive. Just kind of an awful showing by BYU. Texas Tech continues to flex their muscles. This team's got a really good defense, and I think they've definitely got an inside track to college football playoff. They could make some noise in this thing, because this is a bunch that, you know, your SEC teams, your Big Ten teams, nobody, I mean, you can watch them on film as much as you want, but they're not experienced with playing this bunch. You know, this is going to be a tough matchup for anybody that comes across them in the college football playoff. I don't think they're going to win the thing, but at the same time, would it be nuts right now to throw out a future on Texas Tech to win the Natty? I don't know. I don't know. Might look into it. FIU wins 56-30 at Middle Tennessee State. The only reason I'm covering this game is because it was the Carolina Jackpot shitter in our contest. In this, they win by 26, and this shows you the power kind of watching games. I had Florida International on this one. They were a 1.5 point underdog. I had no doubt they were going to win this ball game because I have watched both these teams play in those Tuesday night, Wednesday night matchups kind of earlier in the season. And if you watch those games, you can tell a lot about these teams. Sometimes all you got to do is just watch games, and you can pick up a lot on them, because some of these teams just don't get the sharp people don't really fuck with the lines that much on those kind of games, I don't think. So that's an opportunity to make money. But I knew that Middle Tennessee was kind of an undisciplined team, and that Florida International was pretty good at the skill positions. So, yeah, that was a convincing win there by the Panthers of FIU. And it wasn't even Miami Vice night. Duke goes on the road to UConn, loses 27-24 to the Huskies. That kind of tells you this ACC is just such it's a cluster. You've got Duke, Virginia, you have Louisville, Miami, Georgia Tech. All these teams kind of Pitt looks to be the class of the conference right now, kind of all cloistered there around the top. I don't know how this thing's going to end up shaking out, but that's not a real good look for Duke. Week after going on the road and being able to showing a lot of guts, honestly. A lot of guts. You know, like I was saying last week, Manny Diaz was the only person in Clemson Memorial Stadium last week with a set of stones when he went for two and won that game against the Taters. Now he goes on the road to Storrs, Connecticut, and actually drops some steaming turd burger against UConn, which is a decent team. They are group of 5 independent right now, because they were in the American Conference and went back to the Big East so they could be in basketball in the Big East. The Big East, of course, doesn't play football, so they had to go independent. But big win there for UConn. This is the kind of guy, our buddy Tiger Red Devil, who watches a lot of the videos, was texting with me yesterday, and he suggested, you know, South Carolina, if ever has to do anything with Beamer, they ought to look at this guy. That would be Jim Mora Jr., the head coach at UConn. I mean, he's done a lot up there with not a lot to work with. UConn doesn't routinely recruit very well. They probably don't dump. I mean, how much of that athletic budget up there you think goes into football? Not very much. It goes into basketball with Dan Hurley, and it goes into women's basketball with Gino Auriemma. it's not going into football. Jim Moore Jr. is doing a great job there. Why not give this guy a look? Why do people, I mean, they kind of seem to always throw the same names out. Nobody, I don't know. It's something to think about. Probably would never happen, but I don't know. Who knows? Miami wins 38 or 38 to 10 against the Fruit. You know, not a lot to see here. Miami starts slow as usual, and then is able to pull away from a god-awful Syracuse team. Oregon wins 18-16 on the road at Iowa. That you've got to feel bad for Iowa fans. We're up 16-15 in that matchup. Missed on a 2-point conversion, which would have made it 18-15. And then here we go. Oregon and Dante Moore drive down the field in like probably sub-freezing rain. And I don't know, some sleet mixed in with it there. I don't know, the weather was god-awful. The people in the stands absolutely looked miserable. And I think the people in Iowa are pretty used to miserable weather in the wintertime. They looked miserable there. And the Oregon goes down, gets in close, red zone, kicks that field goal, wins the ball game. Got to feel bad for the Iowa folks, but they do get the cover there against Oregon. Once again, people said they don't think Oregon's as good this year as they have been. I guess that's true. I don't think they're a college football playoff contender. I think despite, good heroics yesterday, I still don't think overall they have the level of skill talent they've had. Dante Moore, just hadn't looked that great. They had a wide receiver that had come in from Texas A&M at one point that was really good. They lost back almost at the beginning of fall camp. That may have hampered their offense a little bit. I don't know, but Oregon still is able to survive there, pulls it out. They still have just the one loss to Indiana on their resume. Speaking of another team that I had actually thought might do something on the money line yesterday that absolutely no shot was Mizzou, losing 38-17 to Texas A&M. This was never really a competitive matchup. A&M comes out, punches Mizzou right square in the mouth in Columbia, Mizzou, and takes them down. Casey Concepcion, the NC State transfer, that's the one that came and visited South Carolina, but they said, we're not going to pay that kind of money to bring somebody in here. Fucking, we don't know if we can be developed. They always got some damn excuse for when they fuck up with the damn transfer. I ain't talk about them that much. But I don't see any holes in Texas A&M's game. They're really well coached. They're good on both sides of the ball. Marcel Reed, not a great game yesterday, but it was definitely enough to get the job done there on the road at Mizzou. And we'll play the Gamecocks next week. They're ranked number 3 currently. Does that change after this past week? I kind of tend to think that number 1, number 2, and number 3 are going to stay the same. Ohio State, Indiana, and A&M. Does A&M potentially jump Indiana because of Indiana's close game against Penn State, who had a losing record? I think Penn State's better than that record. I think they kind of proved that out yesterday, but at the same time, it still was a 3-5, 3-6 team, and you stunk it up there for most of the game, but then you're able to come back and win it in a really, really gutsy fashion, a Heisman moment type fashion for Fernando Mendoza. Do they possibly make the switch there? I don't know. And it really doesn't matter. The only one that matters is the final one, but it's interesting to talk about. I think it could potentially happen. If they do, you know what everybody's going to cry. Yeah, Arizona, this was a team that really pissed me off yesterday and broke my heart. I had Arizona covering 4.5 against Kansas, parlayed with Coastal Carolina and Georgia State on the over. Of course, Coastal and Georgia State hits the over, and of course, Arizona beats Kansas by 4. That's all you need to know. They beat them by 4. So I lost. But, good win there for Arizona. Anyway, by the way, why couldn't you have just won that game by more than that, you shitbirds? You're not Jayhawks, you're shitbirds. Wisconsin wins 13-10 over, number 23, Washington. What the hell happened there, Washington? Wow. Their coach, Jed Fish, has also been possibly linked to the Florida job. He's a Florida guy, coached there for a while too. He's been kind of a journeyman the past years. He kind of rebuilt the program at Arizona and turned it around in a couple of years. Now he's went on to Washington. He went there when Kalen DeBoer left to come to Bama. I mean, could Jed Fish's mind be somewhere else? Because losing to Wisconsin, definitely not a very good look at all. Did Luke Fickell just save his job? He may have. UNC wins 20-15 against Stanford. That's it. They won 20-15 against Stanford. That's 2 ACC wins for them. So I guess Bill Belichick might have got laid last night 2 times and had 2 heart attacks. Wake Forest and Louisville. Well, Wake and Cal, Louisville and Virginia. What happened with this bunch? I had a feeling about Wake. I had a feeling that one was going to happen. Cal, not so much. Beating Louisville, not a good look there at all by the Louisville Cardinals. It makes me kind of worry about that matchup this coming Friday night at home against Clemson. Were they looking ahead to... I don't think they were looking ahead to Clemson. I think they were looking ahead to possibly winning an ACC championship and going to Charlotte. I think that's really seriously up in jeopardy now. Nobody's looking ahead to Clemson, okay? South Carolina's looking ahead to them because they want to beat them, because that's our rival. But outside of that, no one is looking ahead to Clemson. It's not a good football team. It's just not the team that it was at one point in time. Yeah, years ago, people used to look ahead to Clemson. They don't no more. They look ahead to them for a laugh. I mean, but at this point, and I don't think that's what it was. Maybe Louisville's just not that good. Maybe Cal's a little bit better than you thought they were. I don't know. But Wake Forest beating Virginia was something that we could see coming a mile away. The other one, not so much. Kentucky. And I want to talk about Florida for a second. DJ Lagway, this Florida team has clearly quit. They've just given up on playing football. Last night, the only kid out there that impressed me was Trayvon Ball, the running back. This guy played his ass off. If we can get a good offensive coordinator at South Carolina and we can kind of turn some stuff around to the point where people may want to come here and say, hey, man, he looks like he's got a good system. I think I might want to come play for that guy. That's a kid that I would like to see them kind of maybe try to go after in the portal if he gets in the portal. DJ Lagway is... we were sold a bill of goods on this dude. He had 2 good games last year against Mississippi, Ole Miss and LSU. And other than that, I mean, he ain't really done anything at all spectacular. I think he's thrown as many TDs now as interceptions. 3 of them last night. They lose 38-7 on the road to Kentucky. Now, I will say this: Kentucky's improved a lot from when South Carolina played them. It seems like every week after that South Carolina loss, Kentucky got better and better. Cutter Boley has impressed me. He's showing some poise there. This guy has really, really grown up the second half of this season, and I could potentially, see him if something happens. Still, I don't know. I think Mark Stoops is probably safe now after 2 wins in a row, but it's not etched in granite. I mean, I could see Cutter Boley maybe. I don't know. He's a Kentucky guy, though. I don't know that he leaves to go anywhere. Maybe they found themselves a decent quarterback, which is good. Stop going. Some of these teams need to stop going after these damn transfer portal people all the time. Grow yourselves a homegrown quarterback. Miami's the same way. And I'm not saying that because, well, you know, saying that because the North Southern's going to transfer to Miami, Carolina, Jack Bottom. Miami's the same way. Mario Cristobal's is a lazy ass on the development side of football. I mean, it's just a lazy ass. They would rather pay $4 million for a mid-ass Carson Beck who's done nothing that's a bit more impressive than what he did at UGA last year than develop someone. They got that Emory Jones kid that's been sitting on the bench. They're not going to develop anybody. They're just going to go out and buy someone every year. Notre Dame was doing that. Notre Dame was doing that for several years in a row. You know, they went with Sam Hartman, and he was there for a couple of years. And they went with Riley Leonard, and now it seems like they've settled in with this C.J. Carr kid, which is great. You know, I mean, grow yourselves a quarterback. But Kentucky looked a lot better yesterday. Running the football yesterday, Seth McGowan had a good game, which I don't personally like him very much. Mr. Football Tosser, one who throwed it and hit Lenore Sellers' granddaddy in the head with the football. I don't like him, but whatever. Notre Dame wins 49-10 over Navy. We knew that was coming. Navy gets blown out, especially in the third quarter. Notre Dame puts up 21 points, and this thing's just not competitive after that point. Notre Dame just keeps on rolling. I'm telling you, if they finish with 2 losses, they're making it to the college football playoff, whether you really like it or not, barring major chaos. UCLA, their rally falls short. They lose 28-21 in Nebraska. We're down 28-7 in terms of that matchup, and then make a fierce rally to come back, but still drop one to the Cornhuskers. The Cornhuskers are 7-3 right now. You know, if I haven't looked at the rest of their schedule. If they get another win or two, they're going to make a decent bowl. So Matt Rule doing some good stuff in Nebraska, and really they should be an 8-win football team. They shouldn't have lost that game on the road to Minnesota. I don't know what happened there, but they got their brakes beat off a few Friday nights ago, and bad loss there for Nebraska. But outside of that, they've been playing pretty good football this year. And then with Dylan Raiola hurt, is it broken leg? I think. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive victory on that one. And some games that happened earlier in the week. You had USC winning 38-17 Friday night over Northwestern. Tulane with a big road win, 38-32 in a spot there against Memphis, whose head coach, is he gone to Arkansas? Did he take the Arkansas job? I know they were talking about it too. And then another team I want to talk about, South Florida. This guy here, this Golish guy. Now, once again, this is a guy who was the offensive coordinator at Tennessee under Josh Heupel. So I don't know how much of the offense was him calling it, and I don't know how much was Josh. But despite that, I mean, he has turned into a really, really good head coach at South Florida. If you look at this team, they look like a Power 4 team. They don't look like a Group of 5 outfit. They came out and just beat the hell out of UTSA on Thursday night from the get-go. And I know they scored twice on defense. They scored defensive touchdowns. That's what people say about South Carolina when they were scoring defensive touchdowns a bunch in like those games against Kentucky and who was it? So you can't count that. That mean offense ain't no good. Well, I mean, it's just keeping your offense off the field, yeah. But those are momentum plays. Those are explosives, and those can really swing a football game. They scored on a pick six at the beginning of the game, and then what are you staring at me for? This is my warehouse down here. I mean, you're just walking up and down the road. What I keep looking at. What else? But they look extremely strong on both sides of the football, and that how in the world they managed to lose that game to Memphis last week is, it's just one of those things. But I think that, I don't know. I think that team may make it. They're making the college football playoff. I think they're probably going to end up being the one to win that conference. That's the strongest conference in the Group of 5. Navy's not in contention anymore. I think Tulane and Memphis are going to end up beating each other out. And James Madison's another interesting one that people have talked about being in contention. We'll have to see with that one. But anyway, guys, that is the week that was in college football. So go ahead, go check that YouTube channel out for me, that PB Betting. It's in the description box below. And remember about that live show that we're going to be doing. We're going to have a heck of a good time, guys. I will see y'all later on. Appreciate you. Peace. And I'm out of here. Go Gamecocks.